Well, hello though, everyone. We're back for another great episode of Uncle Dad Talks. I'm Uncle Dad, and with me, as always, is the ever so handsome Mike Hampton, or we like to call him just Mike. What's up, Mike?
Hello, Uncle Dad.
That was my
Hello.
most sincere opening I've done, huh? Just very like,
Yes,
hey, everyone.
we're very sincere and direct this episode.
Well, because we're talking about two things that are very emotional: arcades and love songs.
Very emotional. Yes, lots of emotions pouring on both of those.
I mean, have you never cried at the arcade? I definitely have.
Cried. Yeah. Yeah, I've cried.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I believe it. So, this episode is interesting because we are talking about the sequel to a very big hit documentary that came out years ago called King of Kong, which was a story about Billy Mitchell trying to take over and have the basic world record for Donkey Kong, the original arcade game. Now, fast forward to now, we are focusing on one of the characters that was featured in that film, Walter Day. Walter Day is the man behind the pretty much the origins of competitive gaming. He was the creator of what's called Twin Galaxies. Twin Galaxies was the only what do you want to call it, like organization that was keeping track of scores. So remember back in the day, Mike, you would go to the arcade, you play Centipede, and you would see the high score. You know, back in the day, if you had like a Polaroid camera, you would take a photo of that, send that to Twin Galaxies. They would approve that, and then that would be how it gets approved or not into the actual standings of the U.S.
So you just had to send in a Polaroid.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is back in the day.
Wow. Yeah.
You know? So Walter Day is considered to be the godfather of esports. Now, I'm sure you know what esports are, right, Mike?
The electronic sports.
Yes, which would include games like
King Kong.
Well, the modern version of it would be Overwatch, would be League of Legends, stuff like that, right? These online competitive games, like that all comes from there. So, but without Walter Day, there is no competitive gaming in many ways. So, or at least a competitive, organization. So, fast forward to now, we have Walter Day gives up everything to become a R&B singer, or really a singer. So Walter Day, if you don't know who he is, and again, we're going to have the interview here. I actually got to interview Mike. I got to interview Walter Day himself about his journey and his passion for leaving video games and going all in on singing.
That's it's quite a left turn. You know, it's a very different genre. It's a different life almost, right?
Whole different life, man. And my thing is this, and we talk about this a lot, you and I, on the show. We talk about what you're passionate about. And gaming meant a lot to him, but it changed, right? Gaming changed. And the thing that always was there for him was music. And so he felt that one day he wanted to take his music seriously. And so now this documentary that's now out to watch in theaters, Arcade and Love Songs, The Ballad of Walter Day, you can see his journey to his first performance ever. And let me tell you, it is quite the experience. Fun fact to you about Walter Day: he was born in Oakland, California.
Oh, okay, right on. He's a local guy.
Local guy, yeah. Now he lives out there, way out there, and you'll learn all about that in our interview. But I got to tell you, man, what was really cool is that he shouts out a couple of the arcades in the Alameda,
like the arcade rooms.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And man, yeah. So, does any of his music have any kind of? And maybe you'll get to this in the interview, but my mind is going to: does any of his music have, that kind of 8-bit arcade sound in it?
No, sir.
No.
I'm going to tell you what his inspiration is. And again, you'll learn all about this in his interview. But for you, Mike, because I love you so much, his number one inspiration is arguably the biggest artist of all time right now. And do you know who that is?
The biggest artist of all time right now?
Yes.
Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift, my sir.
Wow. That's his inspiration. Okay.
And we talked a lot about it. And, I got to be honest with you, Walter Day has convinced me that I'm a Swiftie.
Are you? Are you self-convinced?
He told me, you'll hear it. He said, I think you're a Swiftie.
Let me see your wrist. Let me see. Where's your bracelet? No bracelet.
No
I don't know.
bracelet.
Isn't that how you identify a Swiftie? As those little
It's on my ankle, sir.
Oh, you have an anklet. It's called an anklet.
Yep.
Just to be clear.
It's
yes.
an yes.
I used to work in a jewelry store.
Oh, you did? Yes. We'll talk about that one day.
I went from that to this, just like he went from games to being an R&B to a singer. Same thing.
Yeah, whatever, right? Actually, you kind of did the opposite. You went from rapper to podcaster.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so the Walter Day, man, the story of him it's fascinating, and really, I can't suggest enough. Go see it. It is currently in theaters, arcade and love songs. I just gotta do our due diligence, Mike, and kind of do the summary, So just so everybody's aware, Arcade and Love Songs, The Ballad of Walter Day is a musical documentary following 74-year-old Walter Day, the father of esports and the star of King of Kong, as he battles a lawsuit threatening his legacy while fulfilling his dream of recording and performing the rock opera style love songs he has been hearing in his head since having his heart broken at the height of the arcade era. Arcade and Love Songs in theaters now.
In theaters.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's great. I mean, like, the guy's 74, but it just goes to show, like, if you love something and you have a passion for something, like, just go for it, right? Like, who cares? Everyone knows that listens to the show. I'm a Howard Stern show guy, and Howard started playing the guitar at like 70 years old. So, and he's getting better every week he plays. And why let age stop you from doing something that you love to do, right?
And I think love is universal, right? It's a universal language, and who hasn't had their heart broken, right? And for him to deal with the way his heart was broken during such a long time ago, and be able to share those personal stories. I mean, that's what music is about, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a diary for a lot of people. It's a way of expression. It's how you process stuff. And I think that's awesome that he chose to do that.
Yeah. And it's a sequel to one of the biggest video game based documentaries of all time, which is The King of Kong, which came out in 2007. So please go check it out. Enjoy the interview. Walter Day, he's very direct with me. I'm just going to be honest. He's very direct. No joking around with that guy.
No. Well, when you get to that age, you're pretty direct. You don't have time for nonsense.
Yeah, and especially some guy named Uncle Dad.
Yeah. You've only got so much time left, and you're spending it with a guy named Uncle Dad. So,
yeah, right. Exactly. Speaking of Uncle Dad, be sure to like and subscribe and comment, of course, here on the YouTube channel. We truly appreciate it. We've been growing a little bit, so thank you, and keep those subscriptions coming. Because if you keep subscribing, we'll keep doing this, and the more we do this, the more you'll see Mike, and we all want to see Mike.
At least someone wants to see Mike. I see Mike in the mirror, and I go, "Hey."
But be sure to also follow us on Instagram at Uncle Dad Talks and at Mike Hampton Art. And I think, Mike, any last words?
Well, I just can't believe that it's been since 2007 since King of Kong. That wow, time flies.
Time flies indeed. And speaking of time flying, we are on the road to our 5-year anniversary. Yes. I got that layup. Thank you. We are on the road to our 5-year anniversary. And by the time this releases, which is probably going to be very soon, we will be mere days from that 5th year anniversary. And then we will be celebrating for the rest of the year, 5 years. And we got something big planned. So please keep it locked, subscribe here so you can learn all about it, so you can be included in those celebrations. All right, everybody. We'll see you all next week. And remember, we're not uncles, we're not dads. We're just someone you can talk to. All right. First off, how do I describe this man? This man right here is an icon. He's a legend. He is a father of esports. Can we please give it up for my guest, Walter Day? Walter Day, how are you?
I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yeah. So we kind of hopped into it, but yeah, I'm Uncle Dad. This is Uncle Dad Talks, and I'm very excited to have you here. Walter, your story is so inspiring. It's beautiful. It's we'll get into all that, but for our audience who doesn't know who you are, could you tell them a little bit about you and kind of what we're talking about today?
Well, I fell in love with video games almost 45 years ago.
Wow.
I was publishing a book called Days, Who's Who in the Petroleum Industry, because I was an oil broker in Houston. And the guy who was my partner one night said, I can't do any more of this reading of biographies of oil executives. I have to go play Space Invaders. And I thought, what in the world is Space Invaders? And he took me to my first arcade. And before the night was over, I was in love with video games and Space Invaders and Pac-Man and Centipede and stuff like that. And when I traveled the nation as a salesman, I would stop in every arcade I could and and play video games there. In fact, see, in my hometown of Fairfield, Iowa, out of the 10,000 people that are here, over 4,000 of them practice transcendental meditation. And as people know, when you sit down and do TM, it unfolds your creativity and your energy and stuff like that and your intelligence and also helps the heart and stuff like that and cardiovascular system. And because of this orientation for doing meditation, I already had an interest in what it was to unfold your full mental potential and just begin to unfold superior faculties. So I was very intrigued as a result of the people who were the best video game players. So I started, when I opened up an arcade, I started monitoring excellence in video game playing. And I started paying attention to the champions. I started monitoring the scores. And before you knew it, I had a scoreboard that was accepted by the video game industry as being the official scoreboard for the whole world of video game playing. And the Twin Galaxies scoreboard became world famous and became the crossroads of the video game age. And I began to monitor the champions and keep track of the scores and started making rules for score submissions, for game playing and stuff like that. Essentially what happened is we had created through the Twin Galaxies scoreboard history's first esports organization. And that's why today Twin Galaxies is recognized as the birthplace of organized competitive esports, which makes me, in most people's minds, the father of esports. So that's sort of how it happened.
Everything you're saying I love, because I think not enough people know about that fact. And with this movie, arcade and love songs, right? We talk a lot about you and your story and all that great thing. My question to you is, I discovered that you were born in Oakland. Is that correct?
I was born in Oakland.
Yeah, so I'm actually, we're based out of the Bay Area. My co-host who's not here with me, Mike, used to work out in Oakland all the time. So the Bay Area is very important to us. How long were you out here in Oakland before you went to Iowa?
Born in Oakland, but we lived in Alameda. There was no hospital in Alameda when I was born in 1949, so we had to be born in Oakland. And within a year, we were living on the Berkeley student housing campus and stuff like that. My father went to school there. And then we moved down to Encino, Hawthorne, then Wilmington. And then in 1954, before Disneyland opened up, we bought a house in West Anaheim. I grew up with Disneyland, and I have Disneyland in my DNA.
Wow, you were just a man of so many things. I love it. Walter, so just to quickly touch on the Bay Area thing, do you ever find yourself back in the Bay Area? Because we have like some really great, arcade museums out here and stuff. Do you ever find yourself back out here?
Well, there's a pair of arcades, one in Alameda called High Scores.
Yep.
Okay. And we're close friends with them, and they're working on trying to get the movie that's coming out actually screened in a local theater in Alameda. And they have another arcade in Monterey, and they're going to do it there too. So the Liver Noche family that owns High Scores are closely involved with the procession of this movie coming out.
I love that. And I will be at that screening. If they make that happen, I'll be at that screening. I will absolutely be there. So, Walter, your passion for video games, leads you to various things in your life. But now you're setting in the film that we see you setting your dream to sing. Not to give too much away, but when do you realize in your life, hey, you know what? I really, really have the passion for singing?
Okay, here's how it happened. So we have to give it away, okay? So essentially, 1985, while at the height of the arcade era, I had a glamorous girlfriend who one night called me up and said, Walter, I've been seeing a friend of yours, and I've fallen for him, and I want to be free to be with him. So we were done that night. And within a week or so, I started getting heartbreak, terrible heartbreak. It was an awful experience. And suddenly, a little bit after that, the heartbreak, the emotions begin to be it used to be music. Music started coming up inside me, like in my mind and in my heart and stuff like that. I began to hear original, creative, to me, they were beautiful songs, one after the other, with hooks and melodies and lyrics and harmonics and harmonies and stuff like that. And I was transfixed by them, and I began to sing them into a tape recorder and write them down too. By the time the phenomena ended, 38 songs had come out, and I consider them beautiful. But what was interesting is that even though I wasn't a singer and had no intentions or ever expecting to sing or anything like that, I vowed that someday I would get on the stage and I would sing and perform these songs for the public, that someday that happened. And that fire in me was so great that it followed me for the rest of these next following 40 years. 20 years after this happened, that the music came up, the King of Kong happened. And in producing the movie, I told the producers that, look, I have this desire to stop doing video games, retire, and just go and sing my music and produce my music. And they were very intrigued by that. And they actually had me singing on acoustic guitar some of the songs in the movie. So that's where I first began to have my music come out. And they told me that of all the people who had been in The King of Kong, that they were most intrigued by my story. Okay. And so I had made a permanent impression on them. 20 years after that, I'm at a video game event in Pomona, California, and somebody comes out of the crowd. It's David Reichelt, the person who created a mobile game called Color Switch, was a huge success, and he had wealth. He had gathered wealth from the success of that. And he said to me, he recognized me and Billy Mitchell, who were there together, as being the stars of The King of Kong. And he wanted to know how that ever turned out for me with the music. And I told him it was still my dream, but I could never, ever get the wherewithal to be able to do it. And so he decided on the spot that he was going to use his wealth to produce my record as a gift and actually pay all expenses as a gift with no strings attached. And that's what led to the actual me sitting in the studio and start producing the music. Then, as that's happening, the producers of The King of Kong from 20 years earlier learn about that I'm actually going to do the album, and they decided, oh my God, what a great story. We have to tell the story about a man who never gave up his dream and proved that it's never too late.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway of this is like it is never too late. Like it's never too late to do the things that you love, and seeing you and how passionate you are about it and seeing just your spirit behind everything, it's so inspiring. There's times where even sometimes, I like to be honest on this show, and there's times where we're doing this show, man, where it feels, why am I still doing this? But you know what? It's because I love it. You know what I mean? I love it. It brings stories like yours to light. And I think it's absolutely just amazing that you can find that power to do that. And this film it's so incredibly fun. It's lighthearted but full of truth in it. When you got to see the final product, did you find yourself like, man, there I am again? And did you ever feel a sense of like, I don't know if embarrassment's the right word, but how did you feel seeing yourself again?
Well, first of all, I saw earlier versions of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And I found it dull and boring and not interesting and not effective. And I didn't think that, I thought it was going to fall flat on its face and it was going to be boring and people were going to laugh at it. Then I didn't see the final product until suddenly I was sitting in the audience at Long Beach Art Theater when we showed it a couple of weeks ago. And I was amazed by how much fun it was, by how funny it was, engrossing, and also the fact that people were emotionally getting involved with it and being emotionally involved right through, so that some people say that they could even relate to being on the stage with me, because being on the stage was a very emotional experience. Yeah. I mean, I've talked in front of so many people and so many big crowds for the years, and I never get nervous. Okay. And I bragged right before I got on the stage that I'm not nervous. I'm going to get up there and not be nervous. But as soon as I got up there, it was a whole new dynamic. I was about to sing in front of people, and to say that I felt vulnerable and exposed was an understatement. Yeah. Because I don't know, I don't think too many people like singing in front of people. It was a whole new experience for me that I was completely out of my comfort zone, and I was so especially afraid that I was going to forget the lyrics.
Sure.
And so essentially, but I pulled it up, and it came out really good. And essentially, it was a monumental process that, to me, I still have it's surrealistic. I still have a hard time believing that this is happening. Because, I mean, most people when they're 75, they're shutting down their life. For me, I'm proving that that doesn't have to be. That it's never too late. There's still a dream that you can envision and live up to and realize no matter how old you get. In this movie might be a great inspiration. It probably will be a great inspiration for a lot of people in believing that what you put your attention on can grow in your life. And if you just believe and go ahead and do it.
Yeah. I I love that you say that because I think a lot of times we kind of, no matter your age, especially when you get older, I once heard a quote from somebody that we know that they feel when they got to about 70, it was the worst feeling because they would walk around and you become like a nobody on everybody's list. Nobody's looking at you, nobody's talking to you. There's no sense of that. And I always, when I'd heard that, that always hurt me so much because it's like everybody matters, every person matters, right? Everybody has a story. So I think when we talk about like, your story, you are not just a 74-year-old person. You are a human who has a beautiful story to tell, a beautiful voice to give, right? And I think I hope that you inspire so many people who are in that same boat because really, we need that more than ever, right? We need that ability to feel inspired again. And so my question to you is, what music or what artists do you find inspiring for you?
Well, in the movie, I actually talk about Taylor Swift. That's an interesting uh, turn of events, how that led to it. When I get on the stage, that's February 17th, 2023. Literally 1 month later, on March 17th, is when the Eras tour started, which
Yeah.
made her the biggest, the biggest artist in history almost.
Mhm.
So essentially, I had just barely discovered her a month or so before I got on the stage and got filmed there. I can't remember how, but it was just a little bit before. And I was wanting to know what other people were writing and what other people's lyrics and stuff like that. So I started doing research and I discovered I knew she existed, but I didn't know anything about her. And I started seeing her lyrics and hearing her songs, and I was impressed. I thought, my God, this is really good songwriting.
Very good.
As I studied it further, I began to realize that wow, she may be the best ever. She's so incredibly good. And but she was still new to me, and I had no sense of her position in the music industry and stuff like that. And so that's why I got up on the stage and I gushed. Are you guys aware how good she is?
Yeah.
Because she was still so new to me that it didn't have any bearing on how big a success she was. Everybody laughs when I said that. That's because it's like clearly out of left field because you're used to having 14-year-old girls gush over Taylor Swift, but here's a 73-year-old guy gushing over Taylor. So it is almost incongruous.
It's funny you said. I mean, but here's the thing. Even me, like, she has grown on me too. Like Taylor Swift is amazing. Like you said, she is the modern day Beatles in one person. I would say.
I think historians are going to argue for years. They're up there together, the Beatles and Taylor Swift.
I like that. They're together. I like that. What is your favorite Taylor Swift song of all time?
Well, when you talk about smart songwriting, The Man, do you know The Man?
I do. Yes.
The Man is a really smartly written song.
Very
And
well. Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And Back to December has amazing harmonics with a great lyrics. Do you know that one?
You know that song, yeah?
You're Swiftie. You admit it.
I don't know if I'm a Swiftie. I definitely like some of their music. Walter, would you ever want to share the stage with Taylor Swift?
Oh, yeah, that's one of the things I think I say in the movie. See, I believe that if I could sit down with her and play on my acoustic guitar about 10 songs, that she'd say, Walter, I want to get some special producers to work with you. For some reason, I keep getting that idea.
I love that.
Is that idea a hallucination or not? Well, the whole idea of this movie was sort of like a surrealistic hallucination, but look what happened. It's coming to life. So maybe I'm intuiting something and predicting something, but for some reason, I think that she would like my stuff.
I think it's manifestation, right? Like you're manifesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope it does. And if it does, I will pay those exuberant prices to see you on stage with Taylor Swift. Because otherwise, there's no way I would pay that much money to go see her.
Who knows if I'd ever be on stage with her, but maybe her producers could and she could have them do some of my music.
I love that. So, kind of touching back on the subject of video games, why do you feel that competitive gaming is so popular even today?
Well, I guess there's so many reasons for that. One thing is back when back when the original players, do you remember that picture of everybody posing in the street for Life magazine? Do you remember that picture? It's in the movie and it was in Life magazine. It's a historic picture. It's the first gathering of the original first video game superstars from the dawn of the video game age. It's November 7th, 1982, posing in front of the Twin Galaxies arcade. All those players were the best of the time.
Yeah.
But not only were they the best of the time, they represented the spirit of the birth of the video game age. All of them believed in the future of the video game age. In others, they believing in the advent of the esports era. They wanted to be champions. It was their heart's desire to be professional video game players that got paid for it. So they spiritually liked the beginning of the esports era. And the thing that they lament now, and they're all they're all seeing their 60th birthday now. They lament that we were as good as the people today, and we believed in it as much as the people of today, and we wanted it as much as the people of today, but we were just born too early. So what changed things? Well, if numerous things changed. One is the technology became so tremendous that you could play anybody else anywhere in the world. So it made it easier for contests and competitions and leagues and stuff like that. And two, the culture began to respect and support the idea of being a professional video game player. So parents didn't stop their kids from playing video games. They encouraged them to play. And three, the technology became so advanced that sponsors could actually verify how many clicks or eyeballs were going on their products. So they could prove that this is the best place to put our money. So sponsors began to pop up, which caused the whole thing to balloon. So a lot of different things happened that built on the original spiritual intent of the original video game players and allowed it to grow into becoming the esports phenomenon of today.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the best answer you expected, but it's money.
No, but your answer is all I wanted, and I love that. Thank you. So I think when we talk about competitive gaming, it's so vast now, right? Like, it's not just a score-driven thing. Do you find yourself do you have like a modern favorite version of competitive gaming?
I don't play video games today.
Do you follow anything still or no?
Not really. I put on my referee, even though I surrendered my referee shirt in that ceremony with those hundreds of esports stars from around Iowa. I symbolically passed the baton to them that all the stuff I created and been involved with for so many decades, I was now donating to them for them, like a baton being passed, to carry it forward into the future and make whatever they could out of it. Because I'm going to video game events again. As the father of esports, I have to put my referee shirt on again and do that. So when I'm there and I'm at video game events, I like to play a few video games like Make Tracks, which you probably never heard of, Wizard of War, which you may have never heard of. Yeah, I still have a little bit of fun, but I don't play video games much, and I don't follow what's going on in the modern world because I'm focused on music.
I love that. Walter, we have to wrap up, but I got to tell you, I was a little nervous about this interview because you just seem like such a great guy. And I was nervous that I don't know how to describe it, but you just seem so genuine, and I wanted to match your genuinity. And thank you for just really taking the time to talk with me. And I really hope the audience goes out there and checks this movie out. I want to ask do you have social media that anybody can connect with you with, or no?
Well, first of all, I'm on Facebook, so people can always find Walter Day on Facebook.
Awesome.
But we also have a website called arcadesandlovesongs.com. arcadesandlovesongs.com, and you can go there to find out where the movie's playing and keep track of all this.
I love it. Go check that out.
My record's being sold on there too.
Yes, we definitely don't want to. I was going to add that next. Yeah, I definitely don't want to forget that. Go check all that out. And of course, I want to thank you again. If you are on tour and you do come to Oakland, I will see you there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course. Take care.
Thank you.